The year was 2014, and I had just started my first podcast, The Engaging Missions Show. I had a plan, a microphone, and just enough ignorance to get it going. But that wasn't enough. What's happening, podcasters? This is 1000 Podcasters, and I'm Brian Ensminger. I'm a podcaster and a podcast editor, and I'd like to see you succeed with your podcast. This particular episode is part of the 30-day solo podcast challenge by David Hooper over at bigpodcast.com, and also part of National Podcast Post Month. You'll find links for both of those in the episode notes. Today we're talking about the value of mentorship or guidance. Maybe you call it coaching or extended consulting or perhaps community. I don't really care that much what it's called, but what I do care about is that we understand that it's important to have people or a person who can point out opportunities for improvement, provide guidance, and challenge us to improve. Back to my story. I started my initial show back in 2014, and I can tell you right now, I wasn't very good. I was stiff. My show was formulaic. The audio quality was pretty much garbage. And after a couple of years into it, I brought in a couple of people to help me. I brought in a friend who worked in audio to be an editor, and I also had a lady that came in to help me with the episode notes. And that helped. That helped me get a little bit better audio. That helped me get a little bit better episode notes, but it wasn't enough because even though I knew that there were opportunities to improve, I didn't really know everything that I needed to know. About that time, Daniel J. Lewis launched his group, the Podcasters Society. You'll find a link for that. It's my affiliate link in the episode notes. At the time that I joined, he offered monthly podcast teardowns. Now, he didn't call them teardowns. I don't remember exactly what it was, but basically he would review a podcast chosen at random every month. And we could all sit in if we were able to attend live, or we could watch a replay and watch him go through the show and point out things that were good and point out things that could have been better. And my show was one of the shows selected for review. And so he did a review of one episode of my show. He asked me to provide him some information about my goals and some of the challenges that I was seeing and some information about my show just in general. Then he went through and reviewed my show. He listened to the entire episode and he had some feedback on that. He reviewed, well, let's just kind of go through. So he reviewed the content of the episode. He pointed out some things that were good about my style and some things that could be better. He reviewed the artwork and pointed out some things that, as a non-graphic designer, I was pretty bad at. So he pointed out some opportunities there. He took a look at my RSS feed and some of the technical aspects of how my files were being delivered, including some ways that I was providing a file that was bigger than it needed to be without improving the quality. He looked at the file format overall and had some recommendations about that. He had some recommendations about weird things in my episode notes that I've since changed. He had some recommendations about my website. It was a little bit slow. It was laggy. It was not beautiful. There were some things that needed to be fixed with that, including some plugins that he recommended that I get out of my WordPress website. And he was able to find these plugins without even having access. He just knew what was going on with that, as well as some plugins that I might consider. And there was a whole bunch more. And along with that, there were some people from the group that were able to attend that who also had feedback for me. So I picked up a lot of stuff. I left that 1 hour session with a list of things to do that pretty much left my head spinning. There were a lot of opportunities for improvement. But the thing was, even though there was a lot, I wasn't overwhelmed. In fact, I was empowered because now I knew enough to know what I needed to focus on, some things that I needed to get right. I knew that I couldn't do it all at once, so I started to prioritize things and handle them one at a time. So I had a quick chat with my audio editor and said, hey, let's consider some of these things for the format of the audio format for the show, the actual file format. Let's consider a couple of tweaks right there. He had a couple of suggestions for that, as well as suggestions for the lady that was doing my episode notes. And then for me as a host, there was a lot of stuff to work on. I'm still working on some of that. But what happened as a result of that? Well, for one thing, I didn't stop my show. I didn't feel like I was stuck. And so I was able to improve and I kept going. And at least in my view, my show got better. I did keep it going. At this point, I'm nearly 6 years into that show and it's still going. And I'm still a member of Podcaster Society. Even though the format of that particular group has changed and we're not doing these monthly reviews and webinars like we were at that time, I've continued to be part of that group because it continues to deliver value to me. It provides a forum for me to step in and help other people as well. And I'm continuing to get better because I'm part of that group. Here's the question for you, though. Who is mentoring you? Is there a person? Is there a group of people? Who do you look to for guidance, for inspiration, or instruction? I'd love to know. Let me know. You can hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Top Tier Audio. Just let me know who it is that you're looking to for guidance, inspiration, and instruction. I'd love to hear from you. If you would like to connect with me or talk to me about editing your show or setting up a consultation or just want to let me know what's going on with your podcast, toptieraudio.com is the place for all of that. Thanks for listening. Now go out there and make a great podcast.